Hi, it's Mr. Baumgarten here, and in this video I want to talk about the different ways of accessing and setting individual items from a Python list. We use the square bracket notation to say that we are creating a list, and then commas to separate the individual items. So I have here my list of avocado, bacon, cheese, donuts and eggs, and if I print it out, I will print the entire list of foods. We get avocado, bacon, cheese, donuts and eggs. All well and good. Now, if you've experimented with lists at all, then you know that you can use square brackets and numbers inside those square brackets to access individual elements. But how exactly do they work? So let's just print foods and put some square brackets in here. I might just put in a space. You don't need the space, but just put in some visual separation. And at the moment it knows there's an error because there's nothing inside these square brackets. Now, how many items are in the list? We can see here that there are 5. Avocado, bacon, cheese, donuts and eggs. There are 5 items. And so if I print len and then put foods inside len, that is going to tell me, that is the length of the list. So how many items in the list? Right, and that will print out the number 5 as we expect. But when it comes to the index numbers always start with a 0. And that holds true for pretty well every programming language. There might be 1 or 2 exceptions out there, but I can't actually think of any off the top of my head. Certainly true for Java and all the C-based languages, JavaScript. To access individual index elements of a list or an array, as it's known as in other languages, we start with position 0. So the 0th item is avocado, then item number 1 would be bacon, item number 2 would be cheese, item number 4 is donuts, and item number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is eggs. So if I put the number 0 inside my square brackets, I will get avocado. If I put the number 1 inside my square brackets, I will get bacon. If I put the number 2, I will get cheese. Now this number does not have to be typed as a constant. I can use a variable. So let's say I want to use index. And so I can put index in here. And so now it will still get me item number 3, which is donuts, and then item number 4, which is eggs. Now what happens if I set this to 5? There is, alright, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's nothing more. We will get an error. List index out of range. So I've tried to read beyond the range of possible values inside index. Now, this can also work in reverse. So if 0 is the start, all right, there's no such thing as minus 0. Minus 0 is still 0, so that's still avocado. But minus 1 is really cool little thing with Python, is that it will start from the back. So minus 1 will give me eggs. Minus 2 will give me donuts. Minus 3 will give me cheese. Minus 4 will give me bacon. And minus 5 will give me avocado. Again, if I try to keep going, I will get an error. Right, so this is to access an individual element in the list. And I can use this both for reading values from the list, and I can also use it for writing to the list. So if instead of bacon I want bananas, when I now print the list, and let's make this something that will not generate an error. Well, let's print out the bacon. And let's print it out again here, and we'll see that it has been replaced with bananas. All right. let's just stop printing out that 5 all the time, because that's probably confusing a little bit. Okay, so bacon got turned into bananas, and we can see when we print out the list, we have updated it and changed it to bananas. There is another way that we can use the square bracket notation to access elements of the list. So if I put foods and another set of square brackets, this time inside the square brackets, if I put in a colon, I am now asking for a range of sub-values from foods. So I can actually just use the colon by itself, and that will effectively give me the entire list back. Because if I don't put a number in front to the left of the colon, Python will start from the beginning point of the list. And if I don't put a number after the colon, Python will run through until the end of the list. But if I put the number 1 in here, right, that's the same as saying, as if I had, let's trim this out. Let's get rid of this other stuff now. Right? If I had foods and I put the number 1 here, I would get bacon, right? Because 0 is avocado, 1 is bacon. So this is saying, give me from bacon up until the end of the list, right? Which is what I get. So the only difference here is that I have the colon. Likewise, right, 2 there will give me the individual value for cheese. 2 here will give me starting from cheese up until the end of the list. I can also use what locations I want to go up to. Now, this is where things get a little bit tricky, because the number here after the colon is the number that we go up to but not including. And so this is always going to be 1 higher than the last item you want. So this is where it's a little confusing, because if I wanted the equivalent of just this, where I'm saying just cheese, all right, I don't say give me from 2 up until 2. If I tried to do that, I get an empty list, because Python will say starting from this location up to but not including this location. So we're saying start from 2 and go up to but don't include 2. Well, that is where we get an empty list. So if I just wanted to use this method to get cheese, then I have to put the 3 there, and we can get a sub list back that contains the cheese. So this time 2 to 4 will give me donuts, and this is the time where I would actually use the number 5 to go up to eggs. And it's only if I tried to put in a 6 that I will now get an out of range error. Well, actually, I don't get an out of range error, because it's just going to go up to but not including, and it knows that there isn't anything beyond it. So lucky for us, in that time it's not causing an error. I can use the negative numbers again as my closing spot number. Right? And so this is saying, give me from position 2, so 0, 1, 2, up to but not including the last position. So we don't include eggs, we just get cheese and donuts. Alright, if I put -2 in there, we'll just get cheese. What happens if I go past that? We will get our empty list again. Okay. Now, this colon method, can we use it to update the list? So let's just check what happens. So we'll print out the entire list again at the end, and let's change this to say 2 to 4. So what should that give me? Right? 0, 1, 2, 3, but not including 4. So this will give me cheese and donuts, which it does. Now, what happens if I say foods 2 to 4 equals, and I give this, what else starts with C? Chocolate. Gotta love some chocolate. And instead of donuts, what's the D food? Should have thought of this ahead of time. Dark chocolate. Whatever. You get the point. Will this work though? That's the real question. Yes, it does. What happens if I put in a third value in here? So, eggplant. Right? It actually pushes the list along. What's in their food? I don't know. Fruit. Okay, anyway, I've run out of ideas, but you get the idea. All right, we're actually saying, okay, I'm going to take the item number 2 and item number 3 and replace it with this, and so we actually end up with a list that is now what? Position 0, position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4, position 5, position 6, with 7 actual items in it. So if I print the length of food, that will give us 7. Just there you go. So 2 different methods, both using the square bracket notation. One with an individual value and one with the colon. I hope that's been a little helpful. This is Mr. Baumgarten signing out.